Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Cimmerian September, a September BookTube event created by Michael K. Vaughan, where we celebrate Conan the Barbarian at the tail end of summer. and, in all forms, of course, you could spend all of Cimmerian September simply reading and rereading the Robert E. Howard stories of Conan. That would be a very good use of your reading time. But for 2024, the emphasis has been on pastiches. What did other writers write about Conan? Whether you start off with the pastiches of them all by L. Sprague de Camp and Lynn Carter, or you branch out to other pastiches. I have done a lot of both. I have reread some, gone back to some of those early sentimental favorite L. Sprague de Camp books, but also read lots of other pastiches, including what may be my favorite pastiches of all, the original Marvel Comics run on the character by Roy Thomas, Conan the Barbarian, and the black and white magazine Savage Sword of Conan. Those may be my favorite Conan pastiches of all, and I don't know whether that's just because they go on for so long and they have artwork. But I've also been reading the novels, reading and rereading the novels. Today's novel, the one I added to the pile last night, is a reread. But it's been so long, and I have such good company now to think about Conan in new ways, that it felt like a new reading experience. I reread this, Conan the Rogue, by John Maddox Roberts. I want to point out here the oddness of this cover. For some reason, I was staring at it last night and realizing how odd it is. I don't know if it's just that it's poorly done. It could be just that it's poorly done. I think it's also weird, but it is. We have a giant demon figure appearing out of mist. The woman is not looking directly at the demon. The demon is not looking directly at Conan, and Conan is not looking directly at the demon. That's problem number one, is that the perspectives are all off here. No one's looking at anyone else. But also, am I wrong, or is Conan flashing this demon? Is that the main action of this cover, is that Conan has grabbed the towel around his waist and whipped it wide open to show this thing? Is that why the demon's not looking at him? I don't know. I stared at this cover for a good long 15 minutes last night, where I just passed it over the last time I read this. So I had the paperback. And it's an interesting story when it comes to pastiche fiction. How many things are you willing to forgive? How much are you willing to overlook? How much is your liking dictated by the fact that the pastiche author is someone you like? Like, if you, for instance, I've known people in my life who were big fans of Lynn Carter's prose, big fans even of L. Sprague de Camp's prose. If you're a big fan of that writer and they write a substandard Conan pastiche novel, are you going to care? Are you going to care as much? Same thing with Robert Jordan. Good Lord, the man has legions of fans. If you read a substandard Robert Jordan Conan pastiche novel, how's that going to work for you? Is your love of Robert Jordan going to balance out the fact that he's not doing all that much in the book? And I wondered about that question when I was reading this book, because I love John Maddox Roberts as a writer. I think he's fantastic. Mainly for his SPQR series. He wrote a series of murder mysteries set in ancient Rome, and they are wonderful. They are absolutely wonderful. And maybe I'm just granting him a lot, but I don't think so. I think I would have enjoyed this anyway. It's a very unusual Conan story. He has been contracted to find a magical item, and in order to do that, he does an almost, well, okay, I was going to give a reference, but I'm imagining that most of you are too young by far to remember something called The Phil Silvers Show. Probably you are way too young to remember such a thing. But it was okay. We don't need to know. We don't need to know what it is. The template here. Can I think of another template? Well, the template here is just that Conan seems more intent on making chaos than in cutting heads off. There's plenty of violence in this book. Don't get me wrong. He kills people right away. He kills people in the middle of the book. Kills a bunch of people at the end of the book. But he enters this city and seems to want to set all sorts of its worst elements against each other, while profiting the whole time and looking for this MacGuffin. And that's not what I think of when I think of Conan fiction. And I don't think I obviously hadn't read as widely when I read this the first time. I think this came out in the late 80s. it distracted me then. Here, I'm just willing to fold it in. I have to wonder with this book, as I did with the last book, whether or not just reading lots of Conan pastiche fiction is making me care less about it being accurate. Maybe this is how you numb people to bad pastiche fiction. I don't think this is bad as a novel at all. But I'm pretty sure that it's bad as Conan pastiche fiction. I'm pretty sure it is. As a novel, though, I was entertained the whole time. And it's refreshingly complex too. John Maddox Roberts is like that. He really thinks out what he's doing. The details of it, whether it's an intricate murder mystery. I don't know how many SPQR mysteries he had written when he wrote this book, if any. This would be, back in the day, in the 1980s, this would have been a good gig to get on the good side of, was it Rock or Tor, and become a Conan pastiche writer. That would have been a good gig to get. So maybe he did this first. I don't actually know. Never talked to the man. Whether it's SPQR influenced or not, this struck me as really well put together, really well hammered together. Not as uneven or as seemingly whim-driven as a lot of other Conan pastiche stuff that I've read. The climax of the book did not appeal to me when I first read this. It didn't appeal to me last night. We were talking, we had a raucous discussion that's still going on in my emails about, do endings of books matter? Kevin Toll Reads made a discussion video about whether or not endings matter and how they matter and how much they matter. I think they matter a lot, and that's bad. That's a bad position to be in for most fiction, especially 21st century fiction. And here, John Maddox Roberts definitely ends things. It definitely brings it to a conclusion. But I noticed that he's weak on the sensibility of his endings, even in his murder mysteries. And it's true here, too. I was having a lot more fun reading this than I read the first time. I had a smile on my face the whole time, except when I was studying that cover. I want to know if that's what Conan is doing. Is he just exposing himself to that team? But I was having a lot more fun than I remembered. I was smiling the whole time, but the ending still bothered me. I still didn't think it was very good. I thought it was weak. It ties up all the ends that it needs to, but I thought it was weak. But generally speaking, I enjoyed the book. I just don't know why. I don't know if I'm engaging in some sort of Cimmerian Stockholm syndrome here. I don't know if that's happening, but I enjoyed it. So we will see. I will pick another book, another pastiche novel for tonight. I won't go to the comic books, and I won't go back to Elsbreg de Camp. I'll pick another novel. I've got them all, so I'll pick another one, and we'll see what we do. I should probably not pick another John Maddox Roberts, because the question mark here over pastiche reading this time around is how much the experience is affected if the pastiche writer is a writer you like. I came across it with Garb August when I read The Wolfman, an adaptation of a terrible movie written by John Mayberry, who I do like, whose fiction I like. And I encountered it here as well. I already like this author. But I didn't dislike this book at all. I thought it was, in parts, even funny. So it just didn't read like Conan all that much to me. I don't think there was much in the way of that. I like that it emphasized that Conan had a brain in his head. Wasn't just a thuggish barbarian. But did it emphasize that too much? Maybe just a bit. But anyway, that's my report for today. Conan the Rogue, not a disappointment at all. So we'll see what happens, what goes onto the pile tonight, and I'll report back tomorrow. Thank you, BookTube.